23 years ago, sisters Ayda Zugay and Vanja Contino were on a plane to the U.S., having fled the former Yugoslavia as refugees. The woman sitting next to them, who they'd never met, took note of how young and frightened the girls looked and ended up handing them a handwritten note with a $100 bill inside, with the idea of helping them to start their new life in a new country. Zugay has since settled in Boston, but she never forgot about that woman and has periodically tried to find her, most recently a few weeks back. And this time, the internet rose to the challenge. Just a few days ago, Zugay reunited with Tracy Peck over Zoom, and they both joined me via Zoom now. Ayda, Tracy, very nice to see you both.
Thank you.
Tell me,
thank you so much for having us.
What was it like when you saw each other again? Ayda, can you tell me?
Yeah, of course. I was so overwhelmed and, also really touched by this amazing person that almost immediately just spoke with joy. And, Tracy ended up being so far beyond what I ever imagined. And I remember, and it was just so touching that she remembered, every detail, and that she remembered us, and just feeling her warmth and joy was just really overwhelming and really touching.
Tracy, was this something that you thought about a lot over the years?
No, actually not. I was returning from a trip to Paris. I'm a tennis player, and we had gone there to play tennis and attend the French Open, and was on the plane sitting next to these little young girls. And they were telling me their story of how their parents had to put them on a plane to get out of Yugoslavia for their safety and sent them to America. And they didn't really know where they were going, and they were frightened. And my heart just went out to them. I was just so overwhelmed by their story, because I'm a mother myself of 5 children and 7 grandkids. And I just was overwhelmed that those poor parents had to do something like that. And so I just opened my purse when it got time to leave and thought, I have to help them in some way.
And in some reporting, I've seen that you dropped a pair of dangly earrings in also. Is that accurate?
Yes, that is accurate. I wear a lot of dangly earrings. I wear a lot of jewelry. Earrings are part of my dress. So anyway, the girls commented that they liked my earrings. And so I gave them the earrings as well as the $100 bill and wrote the note to them.
Ayda, tell me a little bit about what was going on for you and your sister. A little bit of the story. How did you manage to get on that particular plane?
Yeah, so, it's interesting because the day before we met Tracy, my sister and I left our parents with bombs falling, all around us. And it was very difficult to, sorry about the noise. It was really difficult to even imagine this idea of, this warmth and kindness coming from a stranger. In my country at the time, family and friends were not kind and welcoming. And so.
And you were fleeing Kosovo at the time, is that correct?
I was actually fleeing, and I call it former Yugoslavia because my family is mixed. So we've lived in Serbia, Croatia, Slovenia, and which is why I identify as somebody from former Yugoslavia. But we were fleeing actually the NATO bombing that was happening in 1999 at the time. The NATO bombing did help the country move forward after everything that's happened. So it's not something that I think it's very hard for folks knowing that it took that act in order to stop the genocide that happened in our country. But there was no safety to be found at all anywhere. So my parents decided to put us on that plane.
And when you got on that plane, did you have any idea what was next for you?
Absolutely not. Even crossing over into Hungary at the time where we flew from, because there was no flights leaving our country at the time that were safe. We had no idea. We didn't have any money on us, actually. We had just enough to cross, safely across the border. There's fees that you would pay to cross every border, just like a visa fee that you need to pay. And we had no money left over. And so we had no clue what we were going to do. We didn't know where we were going to be or live or what the future was holding for us. And so being able to get a chance to talk to Tracy there and just, feel her welcoming spirit, but also the hope that she had for us, with that message of like wishing us safety and happiness. I think it really created kind of a goal for me to have safety and happiness here in the US.
So Tracy, was this the kind of person you were? You describe it like such a spontaneous act, but is this really the kind of person you always were, someone who reached out to help other people?
Well, I guess I always felt that I am that, hope that I was always be that kind of person. I always told my children, be kind to everyone. Be kind to everyone, because you never know who needs help. And we all want to be accepted and loved in life. That's kind of the goal, right? Of being, we're all human beings that want to be accepted and loved. And so I guess I just, after hearing their story, I just felt like this is something I had to do. And so I just did it.
And Ayda, how have you moved forward in life? I believe you're an activist now. What can you give us a sense of what you're doing?
Yeah, it's interesting. My thinking through Tracy's act of kindness, I really wanted to focus my entire career on social impact. So over the last almost every year since, I've focused on really doing that, advocating for people who are most marginalized. Those also include refugees and immigrants in the US. So I'm an elected delegate for Refugee Congress, which is an amazing organization. I'm also a business owner. And so it's been amazing to be able to think through how Tracy's inspired us to pay it forward, to really, the first thing I did the moment I had my foot on the ground is go and work at a refugee camp in Zambia with other refugees. And so Tracy has inspired me to really pay it forward my whole life. And so I really took to heart her message of being safe and finding happiness. And it's amazing to have found that in the US and in Boston. And Tracy has been with me all those years.
It's a wonderful story. It really is the kind of story we all really need to hear right now. Thank you both, Ayda Zugay and Tracy Peck. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.